Here's what they aren't telling you about the carnivore diet. You may have heard it's all about eating only meat. This is true, but mostly misleading. It's all about eliminating everything else which is not meat. So what happens when you eliminate plants from your diet? No more salicylates, no more oxalates, no more phytates, saponins, lectins, tannins, thiols, flavonoids, and goitrogens. These phytochemicals fall into a category called anti-nutrients. While anti-nutrients can be problematic, some may also provide health benefits. We don't have the technology to individually assess the optimal nutritional profile for different people. This task would be notoriously complex, comparable to solving a Rubik's Cube, as the Rubik's Cube fights back to unsolve you. Put into evolutionary context, this is why anti-nutrients exist. Plants don't like to be eaten, similar to how you don't like to be eaten. While our ancestors evolved better strength, speed, and agility to escape predators, plants developed self-replicating toxins to ward off plant-eating insects and animals. These toxins, or anti-nutrients, can be lethal to a grasshopper, but beneficial to a human. The dose makes the poison. There's a molecular reason why grapes will send your dog to the hospital, and why tomatoes can cause certain people to bleed out of their large intestine. There's over 1,000 different enzymes working in harmony throughout the body to break down food molecules, and how they work varies from person to person. So you don't know exactly which plant chemicals are going to cause undesirable effects to your body. That's why some people have opted for the ultimate elimination diet, the carnivore diet. Advocates have different variations of what you can and cannot eat, so I've compiled my experience and knowledge into explaining different levels of this diet. The most restrictive version of the carnivore diet includes 3 things: beef, salt, and water. That's it. Usually referred to as the lion diet, this strict regimen takes advantage of eating only ruminant meat, including organs and fat. Cow, lamb, and elk have 4 stomachs, their first stomach being the rumen. Here they are able to ferment grass into fat and break down inedible cellulose. They're also able to eliminate plant-based chemicals and anti-nutrients from their digestive systems so that the food we eat is free of them. So unlike pigs, fish, and fowl, which do not have a rumen, ruminants are better suited for metabolizing or getting rid of plant waste. This is why ruminants are the only animals in Tier 1 of the carnivore diet, while the remaining animals fall into Tier 2. It even appears that ruminants are able to eliminate harmful herbicides from their digestive system, so this meat is free from chemicals such as glyphosate. An extraordinary benefit of ruminant digestion is the production of conjugated linoleic acid. CLA is a unique polyunsaturated fat produced through the fermentation process that takes place in the rumen. In the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers published data suggesting that a high intake of CLA may reduce the risk of colorectal cancer in women. Plenty of people on the carnivore diet eat more than just beef, salt, and water. This iteration of the diet is mostly followed by those with severe health issues such as autoimmune disease and extreme food sensitivities. In Tier 2 of the carnivore diet, we include every type of animal by land and sea. This includes foods like baby back ribs, chicken wings, salmon, scallops, and all other types of wild protein. It's here in Tier 2 we have the addition of our first non-meat animal product. This carnivore superfood and historical staple in cultures around the world are eggs. These eggs can come from quail, turkey, goose, pheasant, emu, and chicken. And I'd firmly like to point out that you can absolutely drink eggs raw, and contrary to what our mothers taught us, you will not get sick. I would know from experience, and so does Rocky Balboa.
Me and Mrs. Kramer are up, and it's a good morning. Boy, I tell you, I need something to struggle with. 28 degrees. It's cold out there. Well, we deserve it. We've been getting away with murder for the last couple of weeks. Our high today could possibly be... That's it. Tonight, we'll back down...
Not only are raw eggs super nutritious, they're a quick meal if you're in a rush. Egg yolks are especially valuable if your carnivore diet has been running too lean and you're trying to supplement some fat. The yolk consists of mostly energy-dense saturated fats and anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids, so don't hold back. They're also extremely versatile in the number of ways you can cook them. Down in Tier 3, we include the last form of animal products, dairy. Milk, cheese, butter, and yogurt are all included in your digestive system, which, for some people, opens you up to potential vulnerabilities. Products like milk and yogurt contain a substantial amount of natural sugar, and if ketosis is part of your health strategy, these foods are going to produce conflicting results. Most people don't realize a tall glass of milk contains the same amount of sugar as a Snickers bar. Now there's debate on the effects of different types of sugar like glucose, sucrose, fructose, and lactose. But if you don't have an intolerance to the main sugar found in dairy, which is lactose, then most people in Tier 3 of the carnivore diet find no issue with a slice of cheddar on a burger or shredded cheese in your scrambled eggs. Another concern with dairy is aged and fermented products such as hard cheese, yogurt, and sour cream. These foods contain significant amounts of naturally occurring histamine compounds, which some individuals have an intolerance to, similar to lactose intolerance. For this reason, some people will modify their dairy intake and opt for histamine-free dairy products. Generally speaking, soft cheeses such as mozzarella and ricotta are histamine-free, while hard cheeses like cheddar and parmesan are not. This time-sensitive chemical reaction says the longer a food is left out to age or ferment, the higher amount of histamine content. So if dried, cured, aged, and fermented products produce histamine, does that mean the same reaction can happen in meats? The answer is yes, especially in cured deli meats or canned food. We will come back to this question of cured meats like bacon, pastrami, Spam, and pepperoni later on in this video. Lastly, in Tier 4 of the carnivore diet, we introduce dried spices and herbs. And yes, obviously with stuff like garlic and onion powder, we've officially moved away from the animal kingdom and reintroduced plants back into our diet. But here's the thing that makes spices acceptable for some carnivores. If you go to sprinkle pepper on your steak, the amount of pepper used is negligible compared to the weight of the steak. Now there are some situations where you're presented with a beautiful rack of smoked ribs and there's a hefty dry rub layered on. Within this meal, you're going to significantly increase your exposure to plant anti-nutrients like salicylates, which are found plenty in spices like cumin, paprika, and oregano. For some carnivores, this isn't an issue, while others, it could cause a mild immune response. And to be completely realistic, unless you're going to make time in your day, every single day, to grill steak, spices and herbs are completely unavoidable, especially when going out to eat. There will be times when steak isn't an option on the menu, and you'll have to order the fennel sausage, herb chicken, or garlic crusted salmon. The question is, how often will you use spices at home, if any at all? Truth is, once you give up the spices entirely, you grow a liking to unseasoned meats because you're able to appreciate the full-bodied fat and meaty flavor without any other flavors interfering. So I want to bring up a few key points on processed meats like bacon, hot dogs, salami, and canned foods. I like to imagine these foods on a cost-benefit-convenience scale. The carnivore diet reinvents the way you buy food, and you soon realize neatly boxed up, shelf-stable carbs with flashy pictures and marketing logos are not in your best interest. And I'll be the first to admit, it's these foods that you rely on when times get busy. So when life gets hectic, I'll resort to a pack of roast beef or cured ham as time constraints don't allow me to cook a fresh steak. Always be sure not to become overly reliant on processed meats, because these are by far an inferior food source compared to their nutritionally superior derivatives. A lot of processed meats tend to run very lean, and their fat content doesn't even come close to their fresher counterparts. And as mentioned earlier, there are several histamine-forming compounds in processed meats that may cause an allergic reaction in certain people. So I've laid out enough information for you to take a systems approach in understanding the carnivore diet. It's more than just eating meat. It's a methodical process of understanding the interconnectedness between food and health unique to only you. Since I've started this diet almost 2 years ago, I've systematically dipped in and out of each tier to discover how and which foods affect my health. I encourage you to do the same, as you will make shocking discoveries about your body. Now, I'm not a doctor, but if you have any questions, post a comment below and I'll reply with an answer based on my personal experience. If you guys want to see more carnivore recipes, like and subscribe. As always, eat, meat, repeat. See you later, everybody.